Chapter 18. At first, the water coming in through the stop-dog's prow was no more than a healthy trickle, but the flow increased as she sat lower in the sea. Kruva and Scarum and Sagax bailed until they were weary. Then they saw the wind had changed and was blowing them away from shore, while it was still a good distance off. Little time was left for taking, so they furled the sails. Kruva took the bow rope around his shoulders and dived into the water, towing the stop-dog towards the land as his two shipmates, Backsore and Paul-weary, continued bailing. Scarum's voice was shaky. "I say, hope we make it to dry land, Wat. Not too good at the old swimming lark, you know. The jolly old parents raise a hare, not a flippin' fish, Wat." Sagax watched Kruva regretfully. "There's the only proper swimmer among us, mate. Oh, I can manage what they call a doggy paddle, but I'd hate to have to swim any distance. Land looks pretty far off, and in the name of fur and feathers, what are you doing, eating at a time like this?" Despite his woeful demeanor, Scarum was packing down food as though he was facing a farm. "Eating me fill before all the scoff gets ruined by bally seawater, old lad. No use leaving it for the fishes. Waste not, want not, you know." Sagax sent a chunk of lever bread spinning from the hare's paws. "If you can't swim and stuff yourself, you'll go straight to the bottom with the weight of the food in your stomach. Now leave the food alone and bail." Scarum stared guiltfully at his midriff. "You're right, of course. Never thought of that. Oh, what a confounded, absolute, rotten predicament, not being able to swim on the empty tummy or drowning on a full one. Oh, rats and fiddlesticks and beastly bad luck." Kruva could feel the drag now. They were actually sinking. But the worthy sea otter labored until he had heard Sagax calling, "Kruva, we're nearly under. We best abandon ship." Judging the distance and trusting to his knowledge, Kruva shouted back to his distressed friends, "Just a bit more. Sling the water out. Keep her heads up. We ain't going to lose my dear old stop-dog just 'cause of a leak. Get to work, mates. I'll tell you when you jump for it." Water was pouring in as fast as Sagax and Scarum were bailing out. For the distance of the scene would have looked like a badger and a hare standing on the surface of the sea, throwing water about. Sagax could see Scarum began to flag badly. The hare had started bailing like a mad beast, but the grueling tool was wearing him down. The waves splashed in over the rails, swamping the ketch completely as the swap-dogs sank. "Ahoy, crew! Abandon ship, me hearties!" As the sound of Kruva's call, they both leapt into the sea. Scarum let out an almighty sputtering yell. Floundering wildly, he grabbed Sagax. The young badger was about to shout for Kruva to come and help them with his footpaws touch the bottom. The sea otter floated on his back, still holding the rope, and laughed at them. Sucking up a pawful of seawater, he squirted it at his bewildered friends. "We made it, mateys, we made it." Sagax and Scarum were standing in the water, the chest high from the shallow seas offshore. Forgetting his former panic, Scarum waded towards Kruva, berating him. You barnacle-ruddered, slip-skinned, splay-pawed bounder, allowing a chap to think he was drowning. Not very funny, I'd say, Wat? Nah, no, sir, not the least bit droll." Sagax splashed the water in the hare's face and chuckled. "He saved us, didn't he? What more do you want? Ahoy, mate? Why don't you wait so long before you told us to abandon ship? You had me a bit worried there." Kruva explained the reason for his strange behavior. "See those rocks sticking out of the sea yonder? Well, I'll tell you, I was worried too when I spotted them. Then I knew. It was a great big reef. Look behind you. See where the water goes from light to dark blue? That's the edge. I figured if we could sail her out of the deep and into the sledge, we could not only wade ashore, but we could save old Stop-Dog by running her onto the reef. If the tide takes a good long ebb around here, there's a chance we can tow her ashore and beach her for repairs. Come on, mateys. 'Tis only a brisk wade to dry land." Making the head rope fast to a small rock poking out of the water, Kruva ensured that their boat would not be swept away. Side by side, they waded wearily forwards. The beach looked to be sandy, though strewn with outcrops of rock. The water was now about waist height. Scarum's mood had changed. He was feeling happy. "One thing about being a jolly old shipwrecked sea beast is works up a great appetite, Wat. Right, chaps, we get to shore and I'm in charge of the foraging party. Though I'll warn you, I'm pretty stern commanding type. So you do the best, find loads of scoffed, or you'll have to deal with me. Sagax glanced over his shoulder. The stop-dog's mask could be sticking up over the tilt of the waves. Suddenly, a sinister triangular fin passed the sunken crest, heading their way. Shark! Quick, charge for the shore, shark! However, charging through waist deep could be slow and difficult. Kruva slapped their backs. Get ahead, mateys, move yourself. It's coming after us. Turning away from them, the otter plunged to the waves and swam back straight for the big fish. Without looking back, Sagax and Scarum plunged ahead. The going was getting better as the water ran shallower. With tiny ripples splashing around their paws, and the pair made it onto firm, wet sand. Scarum looked down, badly frightened and shaking. Sagax threw himself next to him, panting heavily as they stared around. Where's Crew? Oh, great blood and vinegar, look out there! Kruva was at waist depth, with the shark circling him. The sea otter had a hold of something. He tugged it in a way and seemed tugging it sharply, which seemed to send the great sea beast in another direction. Seawater poured creamy white by the struggle, leaping high about Kruva and the shark. Scarum gnawed at his whisker in anguish at the dangerous spectacle. Ah, my fat ant, it's pulling him in. Then Sagax saw what Kruva had holded. No, he's towing it. That's a rope. It's stuck to the shark somehow. He's playing as if he were fishing. They both jumped up, yelling and bawling. Don't let it get you, mate. Stay clear. Watch the blighter, old lad. He's got better teeth than me. Rolling and thrashing, the shark showed his pale underbelly. They saw its wicked round eyes and rows of curved razor-like teeth. It made a dive for Kruva, and the sea otter leapt the opposite way and hauled the rope hard, forcing its adversary to flounder off in another direction. All the time the two were getting closer to shore. Now the shark's body was sticking up out of the water. It would not give up, though it was in the beginning to roll and flop slightly. Suddenly Kruva whipped the rope defiantly around a nub of rock and raced to the safety of the dry land. The two friends helped him ashore as he sat blowing and heavily and heaving a while before turning to Scarum with a comical grin on his tough face. That there's a shark and an old pal of yours, messmate. See the rope hanging out of his mouth? That's the one you caught on. The villain still got your hook stuck in its mouth. Scarum stared in amazement at the fish, which now that could be stretched by a rope pulled against it, was biting through the fibers. Good grief, so it is. The hare began shouting at the shark. Hi there, old lad. Remember me, the chap you took for a boat ride home? Oh, missed me again, didn't you? Silly great blighter. That'll teach you to mess with the fearless seafarers. Go on, be off with you, fish face. At that moment, the rope snapped, and the shark wallowed awkwardly out into the deep water again, still towing a small trail of rope from its mouth. Scarum flung several pebbles after it. Call me any time you want more of that same want. Wheel now, sword. You must be an awful brave beast. They turned to see a little hogmaid standing, watching them. She had her head spikes tipped with flowers and wore a clean tunic of green woven linen with a flowery pattern pinafore over it. Scarum put on a courageous, carefree face. All part of the job, pretty miss. We're shark hunters, really. Chase the old sea monster hither and thither, what? Not a bally shark in the seas won't turn tail and run at the mention of us. So then, me Spike Beauty, where do you live? Completely friendly, the little hogmaid took Scarum's paw. If your honor will come with me, I'll show ye. The hare nodded at his companions to follow. Making an elegant leg at the little hogmaid, he allowed her to lead her off into the dune land back to the shore. It'll be a pleasure, Majel. I'll be going with any beast who looks as plump and jolly well fed as you. Your family got plenty of grub, have they? Huh. Lead on, little charmer. A hogwife appeared at the dune tops, waving loud as she called to the little hogmaid. Is that you, Frildillo, Miguch? And what have we told you about wandering off alone? 'Tis the ladle I'll be taking to your tail spikes. Aye, sure, in the name of fleas, where did you find those three raggedy old tramps? Scarum murmured to Kruva. Raggedy old tramps, I say. Bit much, isn't it, what? The sea otter winked at him. Leave this to me, mate. He bounded up the dune and smiled disarmedly at the hogwife. Pleasant day to you, madam. We're shipwrecked creatures who found your little un lost, and we just bring it back home to you. The hogwife waved her ladle at Friddle. That un lost? Way with you. She's no more lost than a dumpling in a soup pot. Now 'tis yourself and the other two a fetching the babe home. At least you're not pirates. You look fair famished, all of you. I think you'd best come to the tenty and take an old gobful. Scarum had beside her in a bound, holding the little one in his paws, grinning bravely as he was prickled by her. Dear lady, I'll take it that you mean we're invited to dinner. I may express the hope that it tastes as good as you look, beautiful creature, what? A half-smile appeared in the hogwife's homely features. Away with you, great silver-tongued old hooligan. I'll not ye dear lady. I'm Mammy Magooch, so I am. The tenties, as Mammy called them, was great sand-colored tents of heathen weave, almost invisible among the dims. They were home of the roving Magooch tribe, nomad hogs, who wandered the coastline. There was roughly 100 of them, all shapes and sizes, cheerful creatures who lived from day to day without any thought of the morrow. The traveler stood on one side as Fridollo related the shark incident with lots of comical dances and rapid baby talk. When she was done, a faddled male, wearing a tattered straw hat and a soup-stained smock, shook Kriva's paw heartily. "'Tis yourself the great shark wrestler? I'll raise me hat to you, sir. I do indeed." Comanche Magooch is proud to be shaking the paw that shook a shark. Scarum strode forward, flicking his paws. "Actually, old chap, 'twas me that wrestled the blighter, don't you know? When the jolly old shark was worn out, I sent Kriva in to deal with him a whack or two. Scarum Shark Slayer at your service, sir." Kamari raised his bushy eyebrows. "Well, now, aren't you a bold feller? We'll take a trip down to the shore later, and let me show you how to wrestle with great big sharks. How'd that suit you?" The glorious hare had his answer ready. "I'm resting at the moment. Besides, you won't see a fin for miles around. Sharks know I'm here, you see. Oh yes, mention Scarum Shark Slayer, and they'll paddle off pretty fast. Can't blame the poor cads, really, can you, what?" A pretty hogmaid of about 16 seasons gazed adoringly at Scarum. "Faith, sir, you must be so terribly had some terrible times with old sharks. I'm afeard to just see one." Sagax and Kriva were having trouble stifling their laughter. The hare glared at them and whispered, "Tear not, chaps. Got to impress the locals. They don't give tramps very big portions, you know. But I bet they'd feed heroes like blooming kings." It turned to the hogmaid. "No need to be fearing of sharks, my dear. Not while I'm around. Just before we go into dinner, let me tell you a story of how I fought the great giant monster hog-eating shark. That was the day I'll never forget, what?" The Magooch tribe loved nothing better than a good story. They sat down on the sand and listened to Scarum's horrendous and totally untrue account. He strutted around with his chest puffed out and shutting one eye and glaring ferociously at his audience. "This happened down the coast, south from Salamandastra, about 2 summers ago. Were any of you chaps there at the time?" The oldster raised his paw. "Meself was there, sir." Scarum twitched his whiskers. "Oh no, 'twas 3 summers back. Now I come to think of it. Paws up, any beast. Was there 3 summers back?" No paws were raised, so the hare continued on with his lies. "Ah, yes, chaps and chapesses. 'Twas a bright summer day, and I was walking along shore, and there was a bally sudden 2 small hedgehogs, dear little types, come charging out of the sea, crying and wailing in pitiful voices. 'Ho, Scarum Shark Slayer!' they cried. 'Save our grandma!' The hogmaid tugged at Scarum's football. 'Pray, sir, what were their names?' He stared down at the hogmaid. 'Don't know, my dear. I never met 'em before. Now sit quietly and listen.' But she would not. Well, how did they know your name, and if you didn't know theirs, 'cause you never met 'em before?" Scarum fixed her with an icy smile. "Because I'm inquisitive beauty. Every beast down that way knows the name of Scarum Shark Slayer, what?" The oldster raised his paw. "But I was never knowing your name afore today, sir. I'd never been I've been that way many times. Shaking with mirth, Sagax and Kruva held their sides as Scarum began losing patience with his audience. He bellowed at the ulcer. Well, you must be flippin' deaf if you've been down south of Salamandastron and never bloomin' well heard the name of Scarum Sharkslayer. Now shut your snout and listen. He was about to continue when another paw was raised. Begging your pardon, sir, but what was that shark's name? How should I flippin' well know? Scarum roared. The blighter didn't have a name. It was a blinking great bloomin' giant confounded monster. Whatchamacallit, hog-eating shark. At least that's what all the hedgehogs call it. Satisfied, eh, what? A hogwife shook her head wonderingly. And now isn't the grand old name for such a beast? The hog sitting next to her ventured his opinion. Do you think so? Well, I'm a hedgehog, so am I, and I've never knew a shark with a name like that. What was it called again, Your Honor? It might be remembering if you tell me. The hare danced up and down, waving his paws. The thing, what's a bloomin' named shark-eating monster hog? The little hog made touch his football, and now that's not what you said the first time. The rest of the audience began discussing it among themselves, ignoring the storyteller. Sure, the maid's right. He said a different name. Away with you. Now, how do you know? You was half asleep. What's a monster shark-eating hog? I'm thinking that Scarum feller's been out in the sun too long. Oh, now, leave him alone. Doesn't he tell a fine old tale? You go sort of listening to you. You're listening, huh? 'Twas you doing all the interrupting. I'll take that from Noby, standing up here and telling me the face if you dare. The storytelling began an argument, which broke out into a fight. Scarum gave up and sat down with his head in his paws. Sagax and Kriva were helpless with laughter as Come on or Neat led them off. Come on and get some videos. Forgot to tell your friends that the Magooch tribe is terrible at arguing and fighting, so they are. They were treated to huge bowls of vegetable soup, hot brown bread, and some delicious mixed berry cordial, followed by an apple and pear turnover, which they dined. The tent shook and bellowed as the conflict raged outside. Kamarni and Marmee carried on eating as though nothing was happening. Cries from the combat echoed round the dunes as the Kamarni and his wife passed the pie and poured cordial. Take that, you pincushion. Youch, wait till I get my paws on you. I say there, chap, steady on. Oof. Oh, kick me, will you? Well, try this for size. Yeek, you great lump, you bit my nose. Take that. Steady on, chap. Now stop all the fighting. Ouch. Scarum staggered into the tent, one eye half closed and his rapidly changing color. His nose looked puffy and swollen. Kamani moved over and made a place for him to sit. The hedgehog chuckled. So now, me bold beast, how did the story end? Scarum touched his swollen nose and winced. The shark hit me, I think. Jolly ungrateful lot. Your tribe? I say, that turnover looks rather good. Gruva licked his lips and grinned happily. It certainly was, me old messmate. I was just eating the last slice. The hare's ears drooped in dejection as he gazed longingly towards the pot. And the soup? Marmee picked up her ladle. 'Tis all gone nearly, but I'll scrape you a drop from it. Here, take this old crust of bread, sir. 'Tis the last bit. Have you any cordial left for the great shark slayer? Little Frollo shook the empty flagon. None at all, Marmee. But there's a breaker of fresh water over there. Drink that, sir. 'Twill do you good. As Sagax and Kriva discussed the possibilities of the Magooch tribe helping with the repairs of their ship, Scarum could be heard muttering complaints to himself. Rotten lot hog and all scoff, while the chap's out there defending his reputation and trying to restore order. I'd sooner face a score of sharks any day. Savage cads, bad-mannered banders. Hope a bloomin' great shark comes and eats all of them, what?